Have you ever walked into a room and without saying a single word, every eye just knew you were different? Not because of how you dressed or how you looked, but because of something deeper. An energy, something ancient, something powerful, something spiritual. People feel you before they even see you. They feel your silence. They feel your essence. And the truth is, they're watching you. Not out of curiosity, but because something inside of them senses you are being guided. You're not like them. You never were. You feel more. You see through things. And no matter how much you try to blend in, life keeps making you stand out. That's because you were chosen. Not chosen for fame. Not chosen for validation. But chosen to carry a light that disrupts darkness without even trying. And the reason everyone is watching you, whether in admiration, envy, or confusion, is because they can feel that you're not moving like the rest. You're not following logic alone. You're being guided by instinct, divine instinct, the kind that doesn't come from books or training. It comes from your soul. This instinct you carry, it's like an internal GPS wired to the spiritual realm. You don't always know why you do what you do. You just know you must. While others calculate every step, you simply obey the pull within you. It's why you've been misunderstood your whole life. It's why people question your decisions. They don't get it, because they don't feel what you feel. They don't hear what you hear. Your path was never supposed to make sense to them. It was coded for you. And that instinct, it's not random. It's been forged in isolation. See, you weren't given this sensitivity for no reason. You've been through things others couldn't even survive. And while they see you now, walking tall, what they didn't see were the nights you were curled up with pain so deep you couldn't breathe. They didn't see the betrayals, the losses, the internal battles. But heaven saw it, and heaven was training you. Every heartbreak carved more room for discernment. Every rejection sharpened your intuition. Every delay was developing your timing. So now, when you walk into a space, you carry something most people lost a long time ago: alignment. You're not chasing the world. You're following the whisper of God. That's what makes you a threat. That's why they stare. They sense the order in your chaos. They can feel that you're moving with unseen forces behind you. You're not ordinary, and that scares people. You remind them of everything they buried, of everything they ignored, of the voice they silenced in themselves. Because when they look at you, they see a reflection of what it means to live from the soul, not from survival. You're not pretending. You're not performing. You're just being, and that's rare. But let me tell you the truth most won't say out loud. Being watched constantly isn't always a blessing. It can be exhausting, because the same people who admire your light are often the ones who try to dim it. They want your power, but not your pain. They want your clarity, but not your confusion. They see the finished product, but they weren't around for the construction. And that's the burden of the chosen one. You are seen, but not always understood. Yet still, you walk. You keep going, because your life is not about applause. It's about purpose. You weren't built to entertain them. You were built to awaken them. And sometimes, awakening someone means triggering everything in them that's still asleep. That's why people are drawn to you and uncomfortable around you at the same time. You shake something in their spirit. You remind them of who they could be, if only they stopped ignoring that small voice inside them. The same voice that leads you. You see, chosen ones don't follow the crowd, because the crowd never sees the storm coming. But you do. You sense shifts before they arrive. You pull away before destruction hits. You leave rooms before masks fall. And that's what people can't figure out. How do you know? How do you move like that? They call it luck. They call it coincidence. But you know better. It's instinct. It's guidance. It's divine orchestration that even you can't explain fully. The people watching you might never say it out loud, but many of them wish they had what you have. Not your possessions, but your perception. your grace, your depth. They see you navigate storms with a peace that doesn't make sense. They see you carry burdens and still smile. They see how you're built different, and it humbles them. And what they don't realize is this: the same instinct that guides you, protects you. That's why you've survived things meant to destroy you. That's why you escaped traps you never saw coming. That's why certain people couldn't stay in your life, no matter how hard you try to hold on. You're not meant to be everywhere. You're not meant to sit at every table. You're meant to be exactly where Spirit positions you, because your life is not about popularity, it's about placement. That's what confuses people most. You'll disappear for months and come back glowing. You'll leave circles that everyone wants to be part of, just because something felt off. And you won't always explain why. Because chosen ones don't need permission to protect their peace. You're not addicted to noise. You crave alignment. You crave truth. And most of all, you crave the whisper of God above the shouting of man. So if people are watching you, let them watch. But don't you dare shrink. Don't you dare conform. Because the same instincts that led you here will carry you further than you can imagine. The same eyes that judged you will witness your rise. The same people who misunderstood you will one day ask how you did it. And your answer will be simple: I followed the voice within me, when everyone else told me to follow the world. That's what makes you chosen. You followed the voice within, when the world tried to drown it out. That is why you are still here. That is why doors are opening for you without knocking, because you didn't betray your soul just to fit in. You didn't silence your spirit just to be accepted. You chose truth over comfort. And that kind of obedience, it echoes. It sends signals through the spiritual realm. It awakens angels. It shifts atmospheres. It confuses the enemy. Because no matter how hard life tried to break you, you never stopped listening. And now, that divine instinct is taking you places you don't even feel qualified for. You're being elevated into rooms that logic says you shouldn't be in. You're being aligned with people, platforms, and purposes that were hidden until now. Not because you fought for it, but because you flowed with it. You trusted the unseen. You moved when it made no sense. You let go when your heart was still bleeding. And heaven took note. People don't understand why things are shifting for you so fast. It's because your obedience is being rewarded. The instincts that made you strange in the past are now opening supernatural doors. The very traits they laughed at are now the traits they need. They mocked your isolation. Now they seek your insight. They judged your silence. Now they crave your peace. They tried to label you, but you were never meant to be boxed in. You were meant to break the mold. And here's what's wild. Those watching you may never admit it, but they study you. They copy your moves. They listen to your words. They observe your pace, not because they want to be you, but because they don't know how you're doing it. They can't decode you, and that drives them mad. You're unpredictable, not because you're lost, but because you're led. When you're guided by instinct, you don't move in straight lines. You move in divine patterns, and those patterns are beyond logic. That's why your life looks like a mystery to those who live only in the physical. They don't see the unseen hands covering you. They don't hear the whispers you follow. They don't feel the urgency in your spirit before a breakthrough hits. But you do. That's why you've always felt ahead of your time. Like you knew things before you should have. Like your spirit carried ancient wisdom. Because it does. Your soul didn't just wake up. It remembered. It remembered who you are. And that remembrance is what triggered your isolation, your trials, your transformation. The moment you began remembering, you became dangerous to the system. Because a person guided by divine instinct is a person who cannot be controlled. You're not driven by fear. You're not manipulated by trends. You're not enslaved to opinion. You're free. And freedom terrifies those who are still imprisoned by their own minds. They watch you because deep down, they want to be free too. They just don't know how to listen to their own voice. So instead, they watch yours. Your walk becomes their map. Your strength becomes their mirror. And the more you rise, the more their soul begins to whisper, maybe I can too. That's the hidden purpose in your visibility. It's not about being seen. It's about others remembering who they are because they saw you remember. But don't get distracted. Not everyone watching you is cheering for you. Some are praying for your fall. But even that is part of the plan. Because chosen ones are sharpened by opposition. Your enemies are elevators. The attacks don't derail you, they redirect you. Every setback has secretly been a setup, and every delay you thought was a denial was divine protection in disguise. You're not late. You're not behind. You're on time, because your steps are not random, they're ordered. And the same instincts that told you to walk away from what others ran toward are the same instincts now guiding you into overflow. That's why your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. That's why opportunities are locating you without you chasing them.